Ladies and gentlemen, it took a couple of days, but I dare say that we have uncovered the single dumbest thing that any liberal has yet said about illegal immigration in the wake of the Los Angeles riots of the past several days. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Could Milwaukee see copycat riots this evening? The Milwaukee Police Department is bracing for the possibility. I can report that the department has ordered all patrol officers this evening to bring helmets and batons with them just in case tonight's Ice Out protest turns violent. A major incident response team, or MIRT, M-I-R-T, will be on standby all night. This is known as an emergency protest. It has been advertised on social media by first the Highbury Pub in Milwaukee and now 101.7 The Truth, a Good Karma brand station, the sister station of both WTMJ and 94.5 ESPN. Both have been advertising this. From LA to Milwaukee, Ice Out. Tuesday, 6 p.m., Cathedral Square Park. That would be less than 3 hours from now. About 18 hours ago, 101.7 The Truth posted on its official Facebook page, from LA to MKE, communities are rising against brutal immigration crackdowns as protests in California turned violent with tear gas, arrests, and military force. Milwaukee is showing up in solidarity on Tuesday at 6 p.m., Cathedral Square Park, to demand an end to ICE raids, detentions, and deportations. Note the language that was specifically used there. Ignore the fact that the final sentence that I just read was not actually a sentence at all. But what they are saying is, as protests in California turned violent with tear gas, arrests, and military force, Milwaukee is showing up in solidarity. This would imply that 101.7 The Truth is all but encouraging the people who show up at the Ice Out rally this evening to do the sorts of things that led to tear gas, arrests, and military force. These things don't happen in a vacuum. The National Guard is called in, and as we established on yesterday's show, yes, the President of the United States does absolutely have the lawful authority to essentially override the governor of the state and send in National Guard troops. To my knowledge, there is no plan from Governor Evers' office to mobilize the National Guard in case things get out of control this evening. In fact, as far as I know, there is no plan whatsoever from Governor Evers' office to even monitor what is expected to go down in Milwaukee. We, however, on the Dan O'Donnell Show will be. It is very likely, depending on the sorts of tips that I get from various sources in and out of law enforcement this afternoon, that we will be extending the program to provide coverage, not wall-to-wall coverage, but to at least keep you up to date on what it is that's going on. If I were you, just to be safe, I would avoid the area of downtown Milwaukee, especially anywhere near Cathedral Square Park, if you can avoid it. I said yesterday, and I have long suspected, that the radicalized wing of Milwaukee's left has been neutered like a puppy since 2020. They had a couple of big moments. First, 2016 with the Sylville Smith riots that burned down Sherman Park, and then in 2020 for a couple of nights with some out-of-control rioting in Milwaukee in the wake of George Floyd's death. But ever since, even with the Republican National Convention in town, they really haven't been able to muster anything. This strikes me as potentially just a little bit different. It strikes me that their hearts are starting to get back into it, that they're seeing what's going on in Los Angeles. And we have seen over the past couple of nights these riots, or at least these demonstrations, some of which are spilling a little bit out of control. Law enforcement officers in different cities have had different levels of success quelling the potential for any violence, any sort of looting, any sort of illegal activity. Now, I would posit that just sort of taking over streets without any sort of permit and blocking traffic to demonstrate against lawful deportation efforts by ICE, lawful law enforcement actions, is in itself illegal. But alas, Democrat mayors have just sort of allowed people. Remember, we had years ago this trend of these Dontre Hamilton protesters just sort of meandering onto the freeway with little consequence. Where have you gone, Sheriff David Clark? A nation turns its lonely eyes to you. It seems as though this could go one of two ways, and I hate to sound overly simplistic or obvious. This could be the sort of protest that we've had for the last couple of years, in which a couple hundred people show up. Typically, they would start at Red Arrow Park and they would do a sad little march. Maybe there would be one hippie beating a drum and they would have their little chants, and then it would dissipate after about an hour and a half when they got bored or the high wore off, whichever came first. Or if there are thousands of people who show up, if they are well-stocked, supplied, and dare I say, funded, that they get bolder and bolder and bolder, and we see the out-of-control rioting that we saw in Los Angeles. I'm not sure that's particularly likely, but what I can tell you with respect to the Milwaukee Police Department's planned response to it, they're not taking any chances. Now, the protests in Austin, Texas, in Dallas, in Florida, those have been remarkably muted. LA, that spiraled out of control. I think it's best for the city to be aware. It's best for everyone who doesn't have any business being anywhere near Cathedral Square Park tonight to not head down there and to just wait and see what happens. I do, however, believe it is absolutely unconscionable for 101.7 The Truth to be broadcasting this sort of thing and to be using such explicit inflammatory language as "we will stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Los Angeles who faced violent reprisal from federal authorities, tear gas, arrests, and military force." It's almost like they're egging these people on. It is also remarkable that a bar in Bayview, no less, nowhere near Cathedral Square Park, the Highbury Pub would also seem to be egging these people on. As I said yesterday, and I will reiterate, it is well known to any would-be rioters that might be listening to me right now. It is well known that all ICE agents in Milwaukee hang out at the Highbury Pub. Yep. They might not be in uniform. They are there. You should definitely go. After all, the Highbury knows that you are going to be peaceful. You are just going to give all of the ICE agents who hang out at the Highbury Pub. Also, little known fact, they love listening to ICE agents. Cannot get enough of 101.7 The Truth, which is conveniently located in the 3rd Street Market Hall right near downtown Milwaukee. It's in the old Grand Avenue Mall. They've got a nice little studio. They're right in the same complex as 94.5 ESPN and WTMJ. Please leave TMJ alone. I can't imagine that John Mercure supports this sort of incitement to rioting. But if you are a would-be rioter tonight, just know that you can probably find at least 35 to 40 ICE agents hanging out at the 101.7 The Truth studios. I am, of course, being facetious, lest anyone think that ICE agents would ever go to a dump like the Highbury or listen to some trash radio station like 101.7 The Truth. I am saying this to illustrate the point. These organizations have no qualms about trying to get as many people as possible to what? We don't have Waymo in Milwaukee. They're going to start burning Ubers. They're going to burn down that little playground at Cathedral Square. They have no problem organizing a mob, and they know exactly what this has the potential to do. Let's see how they would like it if that mob just sort of showed up looking for ICE agents to just talk to just try to reason with, right? Because these are not violent people at all. So be aware. Hopefully there is nothing but a bunch of yahoos marching around like the ineffectual idiots that they have always been. But I am just warning you that this does have the potential to spiral out of control. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show at any point today, the AdventNews.com talk and text line is open, 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, especially if you have any tips, if you see something, especially later on in the show as protesters start to gather downtown. We will be monitoring our news partners at Fox 6. Hopefully they'll have their Chopper 6 feed up that we'll be able to periodically check in with. And again, we will be here all night if need be to keep you updated on what it is that's going on in our city. But I opened this show, ladies and gentlemen, by telling you that we have found it. The single dumbest take on illegal immigration. I knew we would get something phenomenally stupid coming out of the mouth of somebody on the political or cultural left. Took a couple of days of rioting in LA, but I dare say we found it. Maria Elena Salinas is a former anchor for the Spanish language network Univision. She is currently a panelist on CNN Tonight, at least she was last night, in which she uncorked the single dumbest thing I have heard possibly ever about illegal immigration.
I don't like to use the word illegal. It is undocumented. Coming into the country without documents is not illegal. It's not a crime. It is excuse me. It is a can I finish, please? It is a misdemeanor. And
it's against the law.
It is
if I still go, it's a misdemeanor, but I broke the law.
It is a misdemeanor, just like DUI is a misdemeanor.
It is not a crime to come into this country illegally. It is a misdemeanor. Not a crime, a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is indeed, ladies and gentlemen, a crime. Less serious than a felony, but still a criminal offense. Thank you, Maria Elena Salinas, for saying the single dumbest thing that I have heard about illegal immigration, possibly in my life. Coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show today, we are, of course, going to be focusing on the unrest that seems to be bubbling just under the surface in this country over illegal immigration. The group that is most rightward bound on the issue of immigration is immigrants. Legal ones, that is. We have the polling to back that up, plus an exclusive story that you are not going to want to miss about a related topic. And the city of Oconomowoc wants a more inclusive 4th of July parade. What does that mean? Of course, excluding Republicans. All that and more. The unhinged liberal of the day, unsung hero of the day, daily Trump date, everything you expect on the Dan O'Donnell Show, still to come right after this.
This September, our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One is coming back to Las Vegas.
And you can win your way to be there.
Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets go on sale June 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific through AXS.com. But starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, Capital One cardholders get first access to tickets and other exclusive offers for 48 hours only, or while pre-sale tickets last. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Capital One for more pre-sale details. What's in your wallet? Keep listening for the next chance to win your way to our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Presented by Capital One.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
U.S. Air Force Technical Sergeant Jesse Clark's military service came to an end after a chemical exposure caused a large tumor to form in his brain. As a result, he is paralyzed on the left side of his body, legally blind, prone to memory loss, and in a wheelchair. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation built this hero a new smart home to help him live a more independent life. Help heroes like Jesse Clark. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
I'm looking for the fastest and easiest way to sell my home, and I keep hearing one name over and over. So I ask people, why Grandview Homes instead of a real estate agent?
We needed to sell homes home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
We settled on Grandview based primarily on reputation.
Was the house in rough shape?
Yeah.
She accumulated 50 years worth of stuff.
It was very convenient to just leave everything I did not want and not worry about it. They took out all the stress of emptying and cleaning the home.
That sounds pretty easy.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Okay, that is easy.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. We buy every home as is, and you'll get a fair cash offer in just hours. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Dan O'Donnell here with my good friend Patrick Lynch from the Lynch family of dealerships.
Dan, it's great to be here.
Patrick, I've got to ask, how are tariffs affecting your business?
I get that question every day. I don't think the manufacturers have fully figured out how they're going to handle them, and they haven't passed anything on to us yet.
So what are your customers thinking about all this?
The reality is we're selling a lot of cars right now. I think the reason is that prices are substantially lower than they were 1, 2, or even 3 years ago.
Really?
Let me give you an example of what's happening today with rebates and discounts. A Silverado last year that was over $44K is now listed for $39,495.
Wow.
A Ford F-150 that was $52,500 is now $45,490 with incentives. A Jeep Gladiator that was listed at $60K, we now have advertised for $46,995.
So, Patrick, what you're saying is that contrary to what a lot of people think, it's actually a great time to buy a car. It's always a great time to visit my friends at Lynch. Start your journey at shoplynch.com.
Honey, I can't find my fishing gear. Do you know where it is?
I think I saw it the other day. Look in the big closet, in the hallway, in the same corner as the Halloween ornaments.
Oh, right. Next to the binders full of baseball cards on the shelf with all the miscellaneous wires and plugs.
That's right. And underneath the plastic bins of books and journals and photo albums.
I don't see it. Are you sure?
Check in the box labeled baby toys.
Aha! Here it is.
We should call Tailored Closets featuring Premier Garage.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Hi, I'm Kevin. Almost 15 years ago, I had the Tailored Closet featuring Premier Garage do my epoxy garage floor, garage cabinets, and my closets in my home. I was so impressed with the results, we bought the company and added it to our existing growing business. Let us help you. Give us a call for a free consultation at 262-875-3010. That's 262-875-3010. Or visit us online at premiergarage.com. That's premiergarage.com.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
I don't like to use the word illegal. It is undocumented. Coming into the country without documents is not illegal. It's not a crime. It is excuse me. It is a can I finish, please? It is a misdemeanor. And
it's against the law.
It is
if I still go, it's a misdemeanor, but I broke the law.
It is a misdemeanor, just like DUI is a misdemeanor.
Oh, my goodness. Maria Elena Salinas on CNN last night. She's a former Univision anchor, assuring us that illegal immigration is not actually illegal. It's not a crime. It is a misdemeanor, which is a crime. Out to the phones we go here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We talk with Carl in Germantown. Up first today. What's going on, Carl?
Hey, how you doing, Dan? I'm just amazed at the dumb comments that keep coming out of these liberals' mouths, especially the announcers at CNN. If it wasn't last week with them saying the FBI was juvenile to call out the Egyptian that set the Jewish people on fire as a terrorist, when you clearly see it was a terrorist, to the comments they're making and encouraging from Cory Booker and that to encourage attacking federal agents, my brothers and sisters who I served with, just encouraging mild behavior. And then when you do send in the troops, I mean, I was there in the riot lines in Kenosha when it took Tony Evers too long to get the National Guard there, and him and his attorney general said inflammatory remarks about the poor officer before they even knew what happened.
Yep. That I wrote extensively about that, about how Evers, especially with the tweet that clearly he didn't put out. He was long in bed before it went out at 10 p.m. The statement he put out, he had never before put out a statement that late at night. Never has done so in the 5 years since. He put out a statement at 10 o'clock the night that Jacob Blake was shot. He wasn't killed, he was shot. And he put out about the most inflammatory statement at the exact moment that rioters were told to gather in Kenosha and to meet up. I will never forgive him for that. And I suspect you responding to that tragedy won't either. Thank you for your service, Carl. I really do appreciate that. And this does come from liberal leadership. Just look at Los Angeles's mayor, Karen Bass. She actually laid the blame for the rioting over the past several evenings on ICE. You see, if ICE hadn't been enforcing the law, this never would have happened.
I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
Yeah, okay. The casual manner in which she just lies to a national audience she was speaking with CNN in that soundbite from today. Just utterly lying. This wasn't a random ICE deportation raid. They weren't just going to the neighborhood Home Depot to see who they could pick up. This was a targeted enforcement action against hardened gangbangers and their associates. In fact, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that a number of them who were rounded up on Friday have already been deported. Trump administration has not released a count, but the parents of a 23-year-old illegal told the Washington Post they received a phone call from their son telling them he had been dropped off at the U.S.-Mexico border and told to cross over back into Mexico. So they're already getting rid of these people. This was not just a random day at the beach for ICE. They went in with a specific purpose. And what is it that Bass is actually saying here? If you try to enforce the laws of the United States, and how many people, we read off the list of just dozens of them who were swept up in this raid and taken into custody. We had murderers, we had child rapists, we had DUI homicide defendants. We had people who were menaces to American society, worst of the worst. The implication of what Bass is saying is if you try to enforce the law in our city, we will riot. It will be your fault when our people burn this city to the ground. So don't you dare try to enforce federal law here in Los Angeles. Now, isn't that just sort of the heart of what it is to be a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state? It's this notion that somehow your opinion about what the law should be, what federal law should say, trumps what federal law actually says. And yes, impeding federal law enforcement action, such as ICE, is a federal violation in itself. These are crimes. I'm not saying that Bass or Newsom, as has been suggested, could be criminally liable for what happened in Los Angeles. But what I am saying is when you are placing the blame on ICE for doing its job, you are explicitly making a threat that any further action will be met with violent opposition. That's the exact sort of thing that they were trying to pretend 4 years ago that Donald Trump was doing on January 6th. Oh, well, he was inciting a riot. Well, what is saying, if ICE tries to do this again, we're going to meet up with them again. We're going to resist them again. And it's not just Karen Bass. All Democrats, according to a press conference that they held this morning, stand in solidarity with anyone who, quote, opposes ICE. This is Democrat Representative Yvette Clark.
We still don't know the full consequences of this unprecedented authoritarian overreach. But let me be clear. Congressional Democrats stand in full solidarity with the residents of Los Angeles, with our immigrant sisters and brothers, and with the peaceful protesters who dare to speak out and who will support every effort to oppose this president's abuse of power.
So anyone who stands against what she terms the president's abuse of power, which is actually well within his authority as president of the United States to enforce this nation's immigration law, Democrats stand with them. This is the fundamental difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Anybody who tells you that there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats, you can tell them they're flat out wrong. The main difference between the two parties is that one stands for law and order and the other riots against it. Dan O'Donnell's show coming back with more on this and how this is part of a broader strategy on the organized left.
Summer in Wisconsin, short but spectacular, so you have to make the most of it. One way is to take advantage of the Summer of Fun deals available at newstalk1130.com. You'll have a blast with a deal like this one.
Available starting June 12th, the EAA Air Show in Oshkosh is an international draw, and you can get in for half price. A family 4-pack of tickets plus parking, just $148.50.
To buy your Summer of Fun deal, go to newstalk1130.com, click the events tab, and let the fun begin.
An auction to sell your house? And it includes a 2.99% full service MLS listing? Come on. Put simply, the absolute best way to sell your home is a Redefined Realty MLS listing enhanced by the EasyHomeBidder.com auction bidding platform. You get max profits and minimal contingencies. Buyers and sellers both love winning at auction. Traditional real estate agents put houses on MLS, then talk sellers into accepting offers. It's always been done that way. While buyers can still make a traditional offer, auctions powered by EasyHomeBidder.com allow every interested party to compete for your home through MLS and at auction on your terms. Sellers never lose a penny again. Dorothy's Ruby Slippers would not have sold for $28 million without an auction. Similarly, the maximum price of your home will only be achieved at auction. Traditional real estate agents sell ordinary MLS services. Redefine's Mentors of Winning enhance the home selling process combining auction and MLS. RedefinedRealty.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Real estate's future is now. Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Want to give as much money as possible to the government when you die? Didn't think so. Attorney Rob Mielek has helped thousands of clients maximize their financial legacy. Hear more on Your Hometown Lawyer, Saturday at 3 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Remember, fail to plan, plan to fail. MielekLaw.wi.com.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message, different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS listing backed by auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Right now is the best time ever to buy a vehicle, and the Russ Darrow Group is leading the way. Don't wait for prices to rise. Get the best value and selection before they're gone. Drive today, save tomorrow. Visit RussDarrow.com now.
Without hesitation, I can say that the lots you'll find at our newest development, Pebblebrook Hollow Phase 2 in the village of Waukesha, are the biggest and nicest we've had in 20 years. So let's set up a tour and find you the nicest one.
Down them homes. The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, developed as engine fuel and industrial lubricants, only ended up in the food supply for profit. Seed oils cause arthritis, heart disease, metabolic syndrome, stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and chronic illness. Medical doctors prescribe dozens of pharmaceuticals for life to treat symptoms of those diseases. Why don't they tell you to stop consuming poison? I'll tell you why. You sick is profitable. At Total Health, we teach eliminating seed oils from your diet improves true health and how you feel. Total Health finds the root cause of your fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleeplessness, then works with you, the whole you, eliminating symptoms and the chronic disease causing those symptoms. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution is true. Total Health's holistic practitioners utilize proven science to help you feel and truly be the most helpful and well you. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman. If your home needs new roofing, siding, windows, or doors, then call my friends at Weather Pro Exteriors. You see, big remodeling projects like these require a reliable contractor, and homeowners across Wisconsin trust Weather Pro Exteriors as they only use the highest quality building materials and certified professional installers. Call today and receive $1,000 off a full roof replacement plus a $200 quick trip gift card. Schedule today at weatherproexteriors.com.
The Medal of Honor is the highest military decoration in the United States. On Medal of Bravery. Listen to Medal of America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow Medal of Honor and start listening on the
It's almost become a cliche to call something Orwellian, but it's rather amazing how spot on George Orwell was in 1984, particularly with this line. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Here's Maxine Waters, Democrat Congresswoman from the Los Angeles area, telling you there was absolutely no violence over the past several nights of rioting in LA.
The protests, and even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence.
There was no violence. Should we hear from someone who was actually there on the ground? Here's Todd Lyons, the director of ICE.
I was actually on the ground to see that firsthand and to watch the, devastation and destruction that was going on in Los Angeles. And that wasn't a peaceful protest, right? If you have to watch out for a burned car, that isn't a peaceful protest. That isn't America. That's anarchy, and that's violence. And for elected officials to say that this is a peaceful protest, it's not. I can tell you firsthand, I was there to see it. I was on the phone when they breached the federal building. To hear that your officers and agents are trapped by a group of 1,000 people, and for my leaders on the ground to tell me they have to hang up because they have to deal with people that just breached our building, that's really concerning. And it's violence. That has no place in America.
Sure doesn't. But remember, there was no violence. Don't ever let anybody tell you that these were violent protests or riots. In fact, we've actually got a media who spent all day trying to tell us yesterday and the day before that these weren't riots at all.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control.
There wasn't anything like a riot happening on Friday, Saturday.
You've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles.
LA is home to millions of people. Most of them are having a normal day here on Sunday.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest.
What is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know.
So what is it that these people are rioting for? Or, as the media is telling us and Democrats are telling us, not rioting for? And why is it that Democrats, on the whole, seem to be totally okay with this sort of behavior? It goes all the way back to one of the most influential things ever written for the modern American left. an article in May of 66 in The Nation titled "The Weight of the Poor, a Strategy to End Poverty" by political activists and sociologist Richard Cloward and Frances Fox Piven. They happen to be married. What became known from that article as the Cloward-Piven strategy is, I believe, what we are seeing throughout this country with respect to illegal immigration. Now, their strategy, as their article suggested, was to try to end poverty. And they thought the way to do this was by getting universal basic income, which they called guaranteed minimum income. And of course, because these are socialist 1960s radicals, redistributing income through the federal government. How would they do it? What was their strategy to end poverty? They would use militant anti-poverty groups to facilitate a political crisis, overload the welfare system to so drastically increase welfare claims that they could point to that failure and say, look, the system can't possibly work. We need to transition to a better system in which the rich are made to give up their wealth to provide guaranteed income for the poor. When President Biden told immigrants to, quote, surge the border, and it was made clear first in the Obama administration, then tenfold in the Biden administration, that Democrat leadership was totally fine with massive numbers of illegals surging the border at all times that Border Patrol agents couldn't possibly process. It was a type of Cloward-Piven strategy. It was overwhelming the system to try to demonstrate to the American people that it's the system of immigration enforcement itself that needs to go. What is the ultimate end? And this is critical. It's political power, yes. It's to get a permanent Democrat majority, yes. It's to fundamentally alter American culture, yes. It is to bring in people who are far more open to socialist rule and ultimately, as Cloward and Piven wanted, to transition the United States government to a communist Soviet-style form of redistribution. How do I know this? Well, because the protesters themselves, believe it or not, are actually telling us. Captured on video is an illegal immigrant who is apparently one of the organizers of at least some part of the LA riots over the weekend, saying that he wants the United States. His ultimate goal is to get the United States to be more like the Soviet Union. His secondary goal, and this is what is sort of presented to the people from the third world that are enticed to come up here, is a form of anti-colonialist revolt. The idea that they should take back what is theirs, what was wrongfully taken from them in the age of exploration, which they call colonialism and view as one of the single greatest ills of the world. They believe that they can right that old wrong by simply surging and overwhelming the United States system to more easily implement their communist aims. This guy was just dumb enough to say all of that out loud.
We don't agree with the term illegal. We're undocumented. We've been here for thousands of years before you guys showed up, screwed up everything. We think we should organize together with the U.S. working class and fight together and create a better anti-capitalist. We think socialism does work, real socialism, not Venezuela, not Cuba, not any of that crap that they try to sell us as socialism. And we believe it would be a more humane system that will take care of most of all people's necessities.
Is there a country we can look to kind of model the socialism idea?
The only model would be Soviet Union the first 4 years. After that, it became a mess. Sadly.
Yeah, they ran out of food and had to start killing people so they could feed the people who they deemed worthy of living. But beyond that,
there was a bureaucrat.
First 4 years were great.
That grew out of that, but it has to do mainly with the attacks of the U.S. and all big powers against that system that was working. In the few years that it lasted, it showed the world that it could do much better than capitalism.
What's the end goal? The overthrow of capitalism, the institution of socialism, the reconquista of what Mexico and Central America believes is rightfully theirs, much of the continental United States. 3 words, folks: Cloward Piven strategy.
Truck Center in Waterford, Total Traffic Center.
Getting heavier west on 94 from 25th to Mitchell, slow eastbound from 70th to 27th. On the bypass, southbound is slow from Beloit through the Hale into the eastbound lanes at 76th. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
Josh from Infinity here. The exterior remodeling industry is notorious for wild price disparities and hidden costs. Infinity has revolutionized the exterior remodeling experience. Our custom-built app is your window into our world of clear, accurate pricing.
MJ here. No more guesswork. No more unpleasant surprises. Every detail, all materials are clear for you to see. Absolute pricing transparency makes Infinity the most trusted roofing and exterior remodeling company in the Midwest.
We built Infinity on a foundation of integrity. More than installing roofs, siding, and windows, Infinity installs peace of mind, building lifelong relationships with our customers.
Infinity's proprietary app is an extension of our commitment, providing exact line item pricing, something unheard of in roofing and exterior remodeling.
Infinity's unmatched buying power saves you money. We pay less, you pay less. Infinity provides multiple budget options real time. Everything is at your fingertips, including financing options before we leave your home.
Warranted, guaranteed quality, installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
iHeartRadio just gave driving an upgrade with Presets, now on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Your go-to stations, podcasts, and playlists, all just a tap away on your dash. Start your engine, hit play, and drive happy. Free with iHeartRadio on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Hi, it's Paul Cronforst, excited to announce my 3rd annual Winter Cruise Escape, January 10th through the 18th of 2026. Join myself, my wife Dawn, and a fun-loving group of listeners as we sail out of Tampa into the Gulf of America. We'll visit beautiful Cozumel, Belize, and Costa Maya on the award-winning Celebrity Constellation. Our trip includes airfare from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations in Tampa, and a ton of amenities on board our ship. Get ready for some of the most historic and, simply put, fun ports in the Caribbean. Tremendous pricing and value on this year's cruise with rates the same as my cruise last year. Discover the wonders of the Caribbean and unwind after the holidays, January 10th of 2026. Call 800-383-3131 or cruise-tour.com and book now. See you in January.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The 2 main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the 2 areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix fix any problems they may find. But if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Take a pause.
New York City isn't the safest place, especially when you're a turkey.
She flew across the East River, amazingly, and back to Manhattan.
Manhattan bird alerts. David Barrett says Rosie, the wild turkey, got bold going from the quiet of Roosevelt Island and into Manhattan.
There's more traffic. There are people that don't know how to deal with her. Their dogs. All these things make life much more treacherous for her in Midtown Manhattan.
Another dangerous spot for turkeys, inside Martin's Supermarket north of Elkhart, Indiana. The bird misbehaved so much the cops were called.
There's a very large turkey that just went in the store, and we need animal control out here trying to chasing the customers. It's a really big turkey knocking everything out the shelves.
But then one of the cops grabbed the bird and carried it into some nearby woods. The police said on Facebook afterwards, no harm, no foul. Take a pause. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Quick on-the-fly change to the program. We'll bring you the unhinged liberal of the day coming up at the top of the next hour. Also, your daily Trump date, because we want to leave enough time for our good friend Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, helping you know the difference. Had to punt because of a conflicting schedule yesterday. So we bring in Dave right now. Dave, what are we seeing this week?
Well, I have to tell you that the market has done a complete round trip. Think about what we have seen, from a 20% correction to the Doge cuts and the Federal Reserve and no tax bill being passed. Well, we had that correction. Well, it's a full round trip at this point, above where we were after Liberation Day. So clearly the pause in tariff talks has really increased consumer confidence. And it looks like Howard Lutnick this afternoon has said the talks are going really, really well with China. And so that is really good news. The market has really appreciated that. And here's a little macro nugget for you, Dan.
Yeah.
There is $7 trillion in money markets right now.
Wow.
And generally that money will make its way back in to risk assets, right?
Yeah.
And so that could be a positive, and the other thing that's happening right now, we talk about the $36 trillion in debt. There's $7 trillion of that coming due this year or within the next year. And that's going to be, refinanced at current rates. So higher rates, higher interest rates means that there's going to be some opportunities as we go forward. So folks, take a look at it, make sure that you have a plan, that make sure that you're, rebalancing where you need to, that you review your investments, and we know how we can help.
You can go to annexwealth.com to do just that. I kind of want really quick, Dave, if you can. I just saw the Congressional Budget Office score of the Trump tariff policies in effect as of mid-May, so a couple of weeks ago. They would help shrink the federal deficit by an estimated $2.8 trillion. Right. Now, that's deficit, so that's this year. That's undoubtedly good news, is it not?
Yeah. So that's dynamic scoring. That's not the static scoring that everybody is trying to poo-poo the bill with. It's dynamic, saying what could happen, and that will obviously close the gap. And that's really what the Republican holdouts want.
Yeah. And that one of the big holdouts on the one big beautiful bill seems to have softened his tone tremendously. And that's Senator Ron Johnson of the great state of Wisconsin. And hey, how about this? Even Elon Musk responding to a video on X of Trump saying that he wishes Elon well with a heart. So we've even got that going.
More of the roses, Dan.
Exactly. It is Dave Spano. I'm Dan O'Donnell. We're coming right back in a second.
Listen to Sean Hannity, weekday evenings 6 to 9 on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. At last night's Wauwatosa School Board meeting, members of the Group 2030 TOSA Task Force asked for Superintendent Damon Means to be fired.
What I've witnessed, along many others, is a pattern of poor leadership, a lack of transparency, and a dismissive attitude toward community input.
And 2 people died in a crash in the village of Waukesha yesterday.
A preliminary sheriff's office investigation shows a 91-year-old woman attempted a left turn off State Highway 164. She drove into the path of a semi-truck, which struck her vehicle, which in turn struck another vehicle stopped at the intersection. The 91-year-old driver and 92-year-old passenger died at the scene. The semi-driver and the driver of the third vehicle involved were hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Tad Allen, Wisconsin Radio Network.
The 4 o'clock business report brought to you by the Good Feed store. The Dow was up today, 105 points. The NASDAQ gained 104, while the S&P rose 25. Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers are calling up one of their top pitching prospects, right-hander Jacob Mizorowski. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Clouds early, then hazy sunshine with temperatures reaching into the middle 70s. We drop into the 60s tonight, then jump into the 80s on Wednesday with some humidity and more sunshine. Thunderstorms return Wednesday night. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, founder of Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to make quality, custom-made blinds affordable to everyone. Traditional window covering retailers are expensive. Our prices are low and our blinds are guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
U.S. Air Force Technical Sergeant Jesse Clark's military service came to an end after a chemical exposure caused a large tumor to form in his brain. As a result, he is paralyzed on the left side of his body, legally blind, prone to memory loss, and in a wheelchair. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation built this hero a new smart home to help him live a more independent life. Help heroes like Jesse Clark. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
We're the Libby family at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
If your bathroom needs work, we're the place to go.
Our people really know their stuff, and we install. Plus, nobody beats our prices. Remember our slogan, I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
When I decided to remodel my kitchen, it was important to see more than just designs and drawings. Wisconsin Kitchen Mart made it easy, with more fully built kitchen displays than anywhere else. The showroom made all the difference when making important design decisions. Along with their talented team of designers, decorators, and installers, my dream kitchen came to life.
For almost 75 years, our team at Wisconsin Kitchen Mart has created kitchen and bathroom remodels that set us apart from the rest. We understand that your kitchen must be a well-oiled machine so you enjoy using it. And don't forget, bathrooms too. That's why we offer quality design that incorporates the existing space in your home to enhance the style. Come see our full display in our 18,000 square foot showroom, and with our wide selection of flooring, Play-Doh custom cabinetry, appliances, and countertops, you can get everything you need in one place. Higher design, higher style, higher Wisconsin Kitchen Mart. Visit wisconsinkitchenmart.com for more information and a free consultation.
This time of year can be tough on a number of areas in your home. This is Dan O'Donnell, and if you're struggling with any electrical issues, I recommend the superheroes at Current Electric. Chuck Smith, a Brookfield Central grad, started Current Electric over 40 years ago. His mission was to serve our community with integrity and quality, and has done that at Current Electric. If you need something as small as an outlet or switch repair or a whole home rewiring, call on the superheroes from Current Electric. Go to callcurrent.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. Does it seem like storms travel hundreds of miles out of their way against prevailing winds to keep your basement damp, wet, moldy, even flooded? It isn't going to resolve itself. Freezing and thawing over time expands damage to walls, foundations, and even your family's health. That's not purified water seeping or running through your basement walls. It's filth, carrying every sort of bacteria, fungus, and mold. Only Ryan Waterproofing has an estimator project coordinator you'll love. Ashley's expert, honest, and will make you comfortable with the solutions proposed, and she'll be with you every step of the project. Doesn't matter how bad the cracks or sag in your basement walls are. Ryan has affordable sealant and water abatement solutions for most basements with convenient financing options, including 18 months, no interest financing. You actually might enjoy walking in the rain when it's not in your basement. Contact Ryan today, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com. Call Ryan.com.
Visit twomeninajunktruck.com and reclaim your space today.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We do have some breaking news for you from Brian Stelter of CNN. Terry Moran is out at ABC News. He was yesterday's unhinged liberal of the day. He was suspended for going on a truly deranged Twitter rant, or X rant, if you will, about Stephen Miller, saying his hatred nourishes him. Trump is also a world-class hater, but he is nourished by his own ego, not pure hate like Stephen Miller. According to Stelter, a statement from ABC News, we are at the end of our agreement with Terry Moran, and based on his recent post, which was a clear violation of ABC News policies, we have made the decision not to renew. Imagine that. Consequences for something a deranged leftist in media says. What a world. Didn't get to it at the end of the 3 o'clock hour. At the beginning of the 4 o'clock hour, it is time now to name today's unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy. All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is Minnesota State Representative Cao Lee Vang Her, who got up on the floor of the State Assembly chamber yesterday to admit that her entire family are illegal aliens.
His mother had died.
Talking about her father. Okay, she's talking about her father.
His mother had died. My father, as the one processing the paperwork, put my grandmother down as his mother. And so I am illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country.
All right, ICE, you know what to do, because what she's admitting to is not just illegal entry by her father, also fraud. They are claiming a relationship that doesn't exist. And here's the dirty little secret that libs don't want you to know about illegal immigration. Often to get into this country illegally, you don't just need to commit the crime of illegal entry. You have to commit a whole ton of other crimes. You've got to get a fake social security number. You have got to get a fake driver's license. You have got to commit all sorts of fraud in order to exist. People always ask me, well, Dan, how are these people able to work in the United States? How are they able to do anything illegally? My answer is always the same. They commit a ton of fraud, like a ton of fraud. Cao Lee Vang Her who is stupid enough to admit to that fraud very, very publicly, is your unhinged liberal of the day. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. 4 o'clock hour, as always. We have got a ton of great stuff on the way, including the final day of our mini national contest, the iHeartRadio Music Festival Win Before You Can Buy contest. Your final chance to win a trip for two to Las Vegas plus $1,000 gift card comes up at 5:07-ish, give or take. Also, we have got another pair of tickets to give away to the band Chicago, playing July 4th at Summerfest, the BMO Harris Pavilion. When you hear a Chicago song as bumper music on this show, be the correct caller and you will win 2 tickets to go see Chicago in concert. Each and every day at about this time, we like to lead off the 5 o'clock hour as many people are driving home from work with a recap of everything that went on at the White House. What is that, Eric? Did I say 5 o'clock hour at the beginning of the 4 o'clock? I'm still thinking about, I so desperately want to give one of you $1,000 in a trip to Vegas at 5 o'clock. It's still on my mind, ladies and gentlemen, because believe it or not, we as hosts have a sense of pride in having the nationwide winner. It means we've got a lot of people listening to us, a lot of people entering, but also we love giving back to you. You give us so much of your attention, of your loyalty, of your listenership, that it's a cool little thing. I love giving away prizes. So that was on my mind. But at the beginning of the 4 o'clock hour, this is 4 o'clock is the new 5 o'clock. Quitting time is no longer a 9 to 5. Now it's 8 to 4, 7:30 to 4. You get a half-hour lunch break in there. And frankly, I would much rather be out earlier than working all the way to 5 p.m. So we realize that you work hard. You have a lot of stuff to focus on in your day-to-day life that you can't focus on what I believe is the single busiest, most effective White House, at least in its first few months of potentially my lifetime. We decided to recap it for you every single day in a segment we call Your Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
President Trump just a couple of minutes ago wrapped up a speech at Fort Bragg, honoring the troops ahead of this Saturday's 250th birthday celebration for the United States Army.
As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for every patriot who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that? We thank you from the absolute bottom of our hearts.
And we do too. All of us owe an incredible debt. The 250th birthday is this Saturday. That, by the way, is why we have June 14th as Flag Day in this country. President Trump has promised a massive military parade in honor of the Army's 250th birthday. More on that in just a second. The president did talk during his speech this afternoon at Fort Bragg about the situation that has unfolded in Los Angeles over the past several nights.
Before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like the houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen.
And as far as those rioters waving Mexican flags or even Palestinian flags, Trump said,
the only flag that will wave triumphant over the streets of Los Angeles is the American flag. So help me God. The American flag is the one that's going to wave triumphantly over the street.
You'd better believe that was a huge applause line for our troops. Speaking of that 250th birthday celebration, it also happens to be President Trump's birthday. So, of course, the left has been freaking out that he's having this big military parade in Washington, D.C. to be like Kim Jong-un and flexing his might. It isn't. It's to honor the 250th birthday of the United States Army. Still, nationwide protests, no more Kings protests, they're calling them. There is going to be one apparently in Greenfield, of all places. That's not to be confused with the anti-ICE protest scheduled for downtown Milwaukee tonight. President Trump earlier today in the Oval Office was asked about the possibility of those protests interfering with the military's parade.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester who wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country. But they will be met with very heavy force.
He was also asked whether, in light of what happened in Los Angeles and the protests sort of spreading across the country, if those ICE raids are going to continue. What do you suppose Trump said? Yeah, of course they're going to continue.
Mr. President, these protests obviously started in reaction to these large-scale ICE operations in Los Angeles. Should people expect to see similar operations in the rest of the country?
Yeah.
And will similar protests?
Yeah,
I love that. He didn't even allow the question to be, yeah, of course this is going to continue. If anything, they're going to ramp up.
As you know, we're moving murderers out of our country that were put here by Biden or the Autopen. The Autopen really did. The people, whether it's Lisa Monaco or whoever operated the Autopen, these are criminals. People are criminals that allowed these criminals into our country. And I don't think that Biden knew what the hell he was doing. I don't think he even knew about it. But when they opened up our borders for the whole world to come in, we're going to get them out. We're getting them out. We're starting to get acknowledgement from the courts that, you know, there's a system. They come in without courts and they go out, they want trials and everything else. I think that's starting to work out now. Judges are starting to see what a terrible situation it is. Many of those people that you saw on television last night are criminals that were allowed into our country by Biden. And they want to stay. And we don't want them. And they come from jails and they come from mental institutions and they come from all over the world, not just South America. And we're not going to let them stay.
Here's a Trump date that was just into us 29 seconds ago. A federal judge, Charles R. Breyer, has refused to grant California Governor Gavin Newsom's emergency request seeking to block President Trump's troop deployment. 700 Marines are scheduled to meet up with the National Guard and patrol the streets of Los Angeles. The court will have a hearing later this week, but this judge's order means that deployment may continue. And ladies and gentlemen, that is today's Daily Trump Date. President Trump absolutely does have the authority to deploy troops, even if a governor explicitly rejects the idea in order to put down any sort of invasion or rebellion. And as for the idea that what is going on here is not an invasion, remember, the president has incredible powers to declare an emergency. In the cases of invasion, or insurrection, right? Those are the sort of standard definitions. The Insurrection Act is potentially back on the table. Could the president invoke the Insurrection Act to essentially have the military move in and repel the invasion of illegal immigrants into this country? I have argued that the Insurrection Act likely does not apply because this is not an invasion under the commonly understood definition of it. I always use the Red Dawn example. 1980s movie where the Ruskies invade, was it Colorado? And the Wolverines, the band of teenage boys, what were they, the football players, band together to try to fight off the Ruskies in their small town in Colorado. A wonderful movie. Even the remake where they replaced it with the Chinese, I think, were invading in the 2014, 2015 remake, somewhere in there. 2012, that movie, the remake is 2012. My goodness, I'm getting way too old. Even the remakes that I watch of movies that I watched when I was a kid are now old. That would be the classic example of an invasion. If a foreign army invades the country, the president can invoke the Insurrection Act. I don't think it's an accident that the president has repeatedly, and he did again today in the Oval Office while talking to reporters about this, used the phrase insurrectionist. Vice President Vance specifically used the phrase invasion. This, I believe, is to lay the groundwork for larger scale use of the military to enforce America's border and America's immigration laws. Frankly, after this weekend, I am convinced this is an organized invasion with the goal of, as I said in the previous hour, using the Cloward-Piven strategy to overwhelm America's social services, America's system of legal immigration, America itself. The idea is to fundamentally reshape this country into the socialist utopia the radicalized left has always dreamed it to be. The idea was always, and I use the word reconquista. Reconquista was the Spanish reconquering the Christian Spain, reconquering the Moorish invasion. Those were Muslims who took over huge parts of Spain, the Iberian Peninsula. That was, I think, Spain and Portugal. Reconquista, in more modern terms, is the idea that you repel and you reconquer the colonized land of America, Texas in particular, from the United States. You reconquer this country. I believe that there is a concerted effort, and this is why we are not seeing the sort of integration. We aren't seeing the assimilation that we saw in pretty much every previous generation of immigrants, because the goal isn't to become Americans per se. The goal is to make America Mexico again. The goal is to retake colonized America for the people who believe it is rightfully theirs. And there are a whole lot of people, if you really get them talking on the left, radicalized leftists at least, who do believe America has no legal claim to America. That, why do you think they do it? We laugh about this. Oh, ha, ha, ha. They do their little land acknowledgments. We are now sitting on land that was taken from the Pawnee and the Cherokee and whatever. It is because they believe, at least some of the committed ones, a lot of the committed ones, that this is their land. That this is Mexican land, that this is native land, that this is land for anyone. It's land for black people because black people were brought here against their will. Basically, the only people they don't want here are people of European descent, aka whites. That underpins a whole lot of left-wing thought on the idea of immigration. It is the concept of reconquista. That sounds like an invasion to me. That sounds like an organized overwhelming of the American system in order to overthrow not just the president, but the current system of governance and current system of economics. When you put it that way, seems like we should have deployed the military several decades ago, doesn't it? You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Eastbound 94 is solid through the zoo to Mitchell Boulevard. A crash blocks 2 left lanes. It is 38 minutes from Moreland Road to Marquette. Westbound heavy from 16th to the stadium. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, founder of Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to make quality, custom-made blinds affordable to everyone. Traditional window covering retailers are expensive. Our prices are low, and our blinds are guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
I'm Larry Brinkman, president of Dornbrook Construction. Dornbrook Construction has installed concrete in every industrial and commercial setting from the Milwaukee Airport to Campbell's Soup. From big shots in manufacturing and industry, locally as well as the up-and-coming businesses in southeastern Wisconsin. Big business chooses Dornbrook because they know Dornbrook is ACI certified, fully licensed, insured, and bonded. And they know for 25 years, Dornbrook stands behind every square foot of concrete we install. Little businesses choose Dornbrook for all those reasons, and also because they can afford to choose Dornbrook. Dornbrook is industry's choice for commercial concrete because we do perfect business efficiency-minded preparation and installation on every job. We know you aren't closing your business to have concrete work done. 25 years of experience ensures your loading dock or dumpster pad or machine base or huge flat concrete job isn't our first go-around. Standing behind the concrete Wisconsin businesses and residents stand on Dornbrook Construction. DornbrookConstruction.com. 414-333-0642.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Butt. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Connect with Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers and get more for your trade on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC.
Oh, we are all looking for adventure.
Come be our guest. Take a test drive and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be free, meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
After 23 years in business, our flat fee commission structure for selling a home is more innovative than ever. Paul Leby here with Lake Country Flat Fee. Real estate commissions have been under attack this past year, and it's a wonder why it's taken so long. We always knew commissions have been on the high side in this business, and we have strived to create a better model for selling a home. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Get the last roof you'll ever need with steel roofing from Menards. Steel roofing is durable, offering your home the best protection from wind, hail, and fire. Choose from 29 stylish colors that not only enhance the appearance of your home, but will reduce cooling costs and keep your home more comfortable all summer long. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control automobile mounted articulated crane grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Hear the difference. The worldwide resources of Fox News and Milwaukee's home for factual, fair, and balanced coverage. News Talk 1130 WISN.
The notion that America is occupied land and therefore it is noble and it is just for people to simply swarm the southern border from the entire third world that for centuries was victimized by European oppressors and colonizers is so widespread on the left that this notion actually translates to different issues. I just had a text on the adventknows.com talk and text line. But why is Israel never Jewish land? It's because the Israelis are like the Americans, colonizers. Even though you can trace Jewish roots, Israeli roots to Jerusalem for 1,000 years before Muslims were even a thing, before Islam was ever founded by the Prophet Muhammad, several thousand years, in fact. You've got the remnants of the temple. You have got carbon dating, putting Jewish settlements back there from, 4,000 BC? I mean, it's a remarkably long time that Jewish people had settled the area now known as Israel. They are colonizers too. They are oppressors too. To understand leftism at its core, you have to understand that while they pretend to be the moral relativists in the world and that it's conservatives who are so rigid and dogmatic in their conceptions of right and wrong, it's actually the left that is very rigid in its definition of who is a noble person imbued with presumptions of goodness and virtue based solely on their belonging into a particular demographic group. And this is where it gets real insidious and real racist real quick. If you are a member of an oppressed group, if you are a Palestinian, you are presumed to be virtuous, and your actions, even if terroristic, can be justified, if not totally condoned, by the fact that you are striking back against a Jewish occupying Israeli force that is presumed to be evil merely because it is Jewish, Israeli, and a colonizer. It's the same thing with America. There is always a presumption that people of European descent, because of the sins of their colonialist ancestors who victimized the poor, peace-loving indigenous peoples of this great continent, who never did anything bad to one another, incidentally, you are guilty by virtue of that association. If you want to ever rid yourself of the notion that the forebearers of modern Hispanic, Latino, Central Americans were just completely noble, watch Mel Gibson's 2006 epic Apocalypto. It is a tremendous movie, for one. For two, it is quite brutal because it does show graphic depictions of human sacrifice, but it tells an incredible story. It's really a well-done movie. I believe if it was done by anybody except Mel Gibson, it would have won multiple Oscars. I really do believe it's that good of a movie. But because he was so toxic at the time, this was right after he had that drunken DUI anti-Semitic rant where he was asking the cop if she was a Jew or something like that. And Hollywood just blackballed him forever. Didn't take away from the fact that he's a brilliant filmmaker. He was just coming off the success of Passion of the Christ before that, about about a decade earlier, Braveheart, which won everything there was to win, including Best Picture. He won Best Director. But the left has this tendency to just divide the world in black and white terms, where black is always virtuous and white is always vile. This is why they have no compunction about saying, we want to rid this world of whiteness. We are anti-whiteness, because whiteness to them is everything that is wrong. Whiteness is capitalism. Whiteness is colonialism. Whiteness is slavery. Whiteness is oppression. Whereas blackness, womanness, gayness, transness, Latinness, to some extent Asianness, but when it comes to, you know, the social welfare programs and the affirmative action, Asians don't really count as minorities because they sort of, puncture that narrative that minorities are so oppressed in this country that it results in lower test scores. But all of those things are just presumed to be good. They're presumed to be on a higher moral pedestal or occupying the only position of morality in this country. If this sounds insane, it's probably because it is. But this is the Democrat philosophy in a nutshell. And this is why you can get a whole group of Democrats in their press conference this morning to say, yeah, we stand behind anybody who opposes ICE. ICE being the tool of whiteness, the weapon, the brown shirt occupying force of modern day colonialism. If you stand against them, then we Democrats stand with you. Here's Congresswoman Yvette Clarke.
We still don't know the full consequences of this unprecedented authoritarian overreach. But let me be clear. Congressional Democrats stand in full solidarity with the residents of Los Angeles, with our immigrant sisters and brothers, and with the peaceful protesters who dare to speak out and who will support every effort to oppose this president's abuse of power.
You know what's bizarre, however? Do you know who doesn't buy this rhetoric, who isn't falling for this overly simplistic view of the world of oppressors and the oppressed, colonizers and the colonized? Do you know who actually is standing with President Trump and ICE and normal people who are all for law and order? Immigrants themselves. We will get into that. The polling is in, and even CNN has to admit, yeah, legal immigrants are totally with Trump on this.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Eastbound Capitol Drive has a crash at 110th. Checking the jam cam, the left lane is blocked. Solid east on 94 through the Zoo to Mitchell Boulevard. Crash still blocks 2 left lanes. 40 minutes, Moreland Road to the Marquette. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Need new blinds? At Blindster.com, we offer guaranteed low prices, guaranteed satisfaction, free samples, and free shipping. At Blindster, we take the fear out of ordering custom blinds, shades, and shutters so you can do it yourself and save big. Blindster.com.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years INET has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if INET branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as INET Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real estate for winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefines, MLS, and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. iNet is improving marketing for winners.
iNetJustWork.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
So the Donahos invited us to dinner.
Hang on, honey. Hello?
Hi, this is Lori from First American Bank.
Whoa, honey, it's the bank. Listen to how real this AI voice sounds.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I'm calling about your First American Bank home equity line of credit application.
That is free.
Right? What do I press for? Representative.
Oh, you don't press anything. I'm a real person.
Now it's claiming to be a real person.
Wow.
Sir, along with First American Bank's best loan deals in town, we pride ourselves on providing impeccable personal service. That's why you get me, a real-life specialist, to help you every step of the way with your loan. Isn't that more useful than passing you off to an artificial intelligence chatbot?
What's 2 times 2?
4.
Who created the Dewey Decimal System?
Melville Dewey.
Limburger sandwich or cheese curds?
Oh, you're not dragging me into that one.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative. Registered allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investment Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to new laundry rooms and pantries, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
You're great at protecting your personal information. You might even use things like two-factor authentication and strong passwords. But as much as you try to control how your info is protected, there are other places that also have it, and they may not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis, and that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
A reminder that coming up at the top of the hour, your chance to win $1,000 plus a trip for two to Las Vegas for the 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival. And whenever you hear Chicago bumper music, a trip to see them. You're not going very far, just to the Summerfest grounds, but the BMO Harris Pavilion 2 free tickets for their show Independence Day, July 4th. The 4th of July parade in Oconomowoc is going to be more open and inclusive this year because the Rotary Club has banned all elected Republicans from marching, as well as the Waukesha County Republican Party. They want to be inclusive, you see. The mayor, who is a left-winger and also a member of the Rotary Club, he's still going to be allowed to march. The city council is still going to be allowed to march. State Representative Barb Dietrich, who represents the area, not going to be allowed to march. Chris Kapenga, state senator, also a Republican, not going to be allowed to march. Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, not going to be allowed to march. Senator Ron Johnson, not going to be allowed to march. We will discuss and tell you what you can do about this travesty coming up after the 5 o'clock news right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What group has moved more than any other with President Trump on the issue of illegal immigration enforcement? Legal immigrants. Brand new poll from Insider Advantage shows that by a whopping margin of plus 20, all Americans, legal immigrants, native-born Americans, approve of President Trump sending the National Guard to the L.A. riots. 59% to 39%. Poll just out today, obviously in the field the last couple of days. 59-39. This includes 56% of independents and 37% of Democrats. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, the medical marvel who got treatment for his severe depression and then suddenly sounded way more conservative than he ever had before, actually put out a post on X blasting the violent rioting in Los Angeles, saying, this is not what my party stands for, and I will not condone this, even if other members of my party will. But legal immigrants since 2020 have moved by 20 points towards President Trump on the issue of secure borders and cracking down on illegal immigration. Here's CNN's Harry Enton breaking down the polling this morning.
Immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points, over more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
Because they waited oftentimes a decade or more to become United States citizens. They did everything that this country asked of them. They assimilated into it. They became Americans. They love this country. They work hard for this country. They respect this country's laws. And they have nothing but disdain for the people who don't, because they understood, by virtue of living through it, what it is that it takes to get where they are. I talk about my sister-in-law often. She is a native of Ukraine, and she was orphaned at the age of 12. And her family, her surviving family, aunts and uncles, thought that she would have a better life in the United States and sent her, with her consent, of course, to be adopted by an American family, which she was. It took her 16 years. I believe she was in her early 30s when she finally became an American citizen, about 15 years ago or so. She did it the right way. There are millions of people who did it the right way. When the left tries to use as a bludgeon the argument that we are a nation of immigrants, well, that's not entirely true. We're a nation of pioneers and settlers who tamed untamed wilderness. And no, the natives did not build a civilization that they were able to defend from invaders, that they were able to defend from a conquering force. And that's what the colonial settlers were. They were an invading force. They were just like the conquering Roman armies of 2,000 years earlier. No different, except for the fact that there were no discernible borders for natives to defend. Even the powerful Aztec and Incan empires, which, believe it or not, did not come into existence until far later than most people think they did, they were defeated by Pizarro and Cortez and their invading Spanish forces, the conquistadors. But we were a nation of people who were enticed by the possibility of adventure and forging a brand new life. They crossed a body of water that was once thought to be uncrossable, that there was nothing on the other side of it except a quicker path to India. Hence why we named this the East Indies when Columbus first landed. They settled this land, and then the people who came later in the age of immigration, from the Great Potato Blight of the 1860s, which brought hundreds of thousands of Irish, to the later German migration, and then the Italians. Then even later than that, the Chinese were coming for cheap labor on the West Coast, building the railroads and such. They all came legally. They all followed the law that was in place at the time for lawful immigration. Going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we name the unsung hero of the day. We'll also get you an update on the preparations for that big demonstration at Cathedral Square Park in Milwaukee tonight.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Eastbound 94 still packed from the Zoo to Mitchell Boulevard after an earlier crash. There's also a crash on the right shoulder, a new one at 68th. Westbound heavy Marquette to the Mitchell on 4145, jam northbound Watertown Plank to Hampton. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
I'm Kelly Lammert from Clean Living Environments. Virtually everyone who cleans ducts repairs and sells air conditioners, furnaces, water heaters, or whatever. Duct cleaning is secondary. Clean Living Environments, partners for your comfort and health and your economy. Our superior agitation, high power suction gets more of everything you don't want in ducts out than suction alone can. We're happy with a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. We charge less for superior duct cleaning. Once ducts are Clean Living Environments clean, our ducts-only technicians can seal them. Neighboring states give $500 energy bill credits for existing homeowners who have ducts sealed because sealing saves natural gas waste forever, helping heated or cooled air get where it's supposed to be. If you've been quoted for duct cleaning, I personally guarantee Clean Living Environments will get more out of your ducts, charging less. With natural gas prices skyrocketing upward, Clean Living Environments AeroSeal duct cleaning is a prudent, long-term home budget saver. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
It's Shanna with my dentist, Dr. Matt Smith at Revive Dentistry in Pewaukee. And I love going to you guys. You guys are the best. But why should others go to Revive Dentistry?
We're a comprehensive cosmetic general family practice. Really what we are is we deliver excellence in dentistry and we provide 5-star service. That takes a lot of people's anxiety away, just knowing that we listen and we're there for them. And so it's a matter of building that trust for a lot of our patients that have not had that before. So the anxiety that they once had because they felt that trust wasn't there, they feel the confidence in what we can do as well. The minute you walk in, you're going to experience something like you've not experienced, from the smells, from the sounds, from the look of the practice. We have a small team that will, as you know, make you very comfortable when you walk in.
See their smile transformations at revivedentistry.com. Revive Dentistry, bringing smiles to life.
The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra's subscription season will conclude in grand fashion, as music director Ken David Mazur leads the MSO and the Milwaukee Symphony Chorus in Great Moments in Grand Opera. Call the MSO box office now at 414-291-7605 for your best tickets, or visit mso.org. Opera has been long called the ultimate art form, and these concerts will help show why, with some of the most beloved overtures and choruses by Mozart, Wagner, and Verdi, performed with searing energy and passion. Ken David Mazur conducts Great Moments in Grand Opera June 13th through the 15th only at the Bradley Symphony Center. Visit mso.org for tickets and more information, or call 414-291-7605. That number again is 414-291-7605.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
If your home needs new roofing, siding, windows, or doors, then call my friends at WeatherPro Exteriors. You see, big remodeling projects like these require a reliable contractor, and homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors as they only use the highest quality building materials and certified professional installers. Call today and receive $1,000 off a full roof replacement plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Scheduled today at WeatherProExteriors.com.
When it comes to your home or business, trust matters. At Blue Line, we've brought integrity and reliability to every job since 2016. Bill here, retired detective and owner of Blue Line Window Washing. Blue Line proudly serves southeastern Wisconsin with top-tier window cleaning, pressure washing, and gutter cleaning, delivering spotless results with unmatched professionalism. We proudly support law enforcement, first responders, and military veterans because service runs deep in who we are. For clean windows, clear gutters, and a home that shines, call Blue Line. Visit BlueLineWW.com today.
Smart speakers put WISN's programs as close as the sound of your voice. Tell Alexa, Google Home, or Siri on HomePod to play 1130 WISN on iHeartRadio and listen to Milwaukee's best talk shows.
This might be a first here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Even before I do a story on the air, the group that did something wrong has already reversed course. They have already backed down. Such is the power of the DOD, I guess. Kudos also to Jessica McBride and Jim Piavarchek, our great friends at Wisconsin Right Now. The Oconomowoc Rotary Club is apparently on the verge of formally rescinding its decision to ban all Republicans from the 4th of July parade. I posted on this on social media earlier today. I think they probably heard an earful from their constituents once I did. Time now to name the unsung hero of the day, brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial heating done by professionals. Today's unsung hero of the day is Lane Horwich. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 100. She's now cancer-free at 101. She attributes her long life and health to staying active and a little luck, telling NBC Chicago, "I did play tennis till I was 92. I think that was good. I stayed active." Now, her oncologist told her, "Look, Lane, a lot of people your age will just let it go since, no, you're probably not going to be around long enough. She said, nope, we're going to attack this thing. She did. She did her own research. She got the treatment, and she is today cancer-free. Very cool story about a tough old lady, Lane Horwich, your unsung hero. Heroine? Heroine. You know what? I'm just going to go with hero, whether it's a man or a woman. Just sounds better. Why not? You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Back in a sec.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. The Rotary Club of Oconomowoc, who runs the city's 4th of July parade, announced that this year's event will be a non-political one. In essence, excluding Republican Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, State Senator Chris Kapiga, and Assembly members Barb Dietrich and Jim Piavarchek. However, the city's mayor, who's a member of the Rotary Club, as well as members of the city council, will be allowed to participate. The man charged after a 38-hour standoff with police in Fredonia had a competency hearing today. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
Matthew Novak is charged with battery or a threat to an officer, as well as endangering safety by use of a dangerous weapon.
And at the White House today, President Trump explained why he deployed both Marines and the National Guard to protect parts of the city of Los Angeles.
All I want is safety. I just want a safe area. Los Angeles was under siege until we got there. The police were unable to handle it. You can speak to the chief. He said it on television.
Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard, Quinn Priester on the mound side for the Brewers. They'll play the Braves at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Mostly clear tonight with the full moon shining bright late this evening and overnight. Temperatures dropping through the 60s. Partly sunny, breezy, warm, and humid on Wednesday with a high of 86. Thunderstorms Wednesday night. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
I'm just saying, a Comer & Cross floor coating will transform your garage in just one day, and you'll love it. Jay here, saying Comer & Cross is the proven gold standard for concrete floors and is a great option for patios, pool decks, basement floors, even driveways. And right now, you can get 12 months, same as cash, or save $500. So why wait? 262-788-6430. That's 788-6430. After moving your stuff out of the garage for you, which listeners love, Comer & Cross techs, who are always pros and not freelancers, use a 6-stage process to repair your cracking and pitting before applying your new floor, which is then guaranteed to never chip, crack, or peel like epoxy or paint. My garage floor went from really ugly to stunning in just a day. It really does transform the space. Right now, 12 months, same as cash, or $500 off during the Comer & Cross summer installation sale. So call now, 262-788-6430. That's 788-6430, or go to comercross.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Picture taking your first steps into your brand new home. What do you see? Whether it's cooking meals in your 5-star kitchen or practicing downward dog in your sunroom, Valinsky Homes can handle it all. At Valinsky Homes, we know each lifestyle calls for unique home essentials. That's why we've been designing distinct and deliberate floor plans for over 60 years. Considering every last inch of space, we build new homes ready to adapt to your life's needs. Visit Valinsky.com today to find your right fit. Valinsky Homes, built for life.
Hi, it's Paul Cronforst, excited to announce my 3rd annual Winter Cruise Escape, January 10th through the 18th of 2026. Join myself, my wife Dawn, and a fun-loving group of listeners as we sail out of Tampa into the Gulf of America. we'll visit beautiful Cozumel, Belize, and Costa Maya on the award-winning Celebrity Constellation. Our trip includes airfare from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations in Tampa, and a ton of amenities on board our ship. Get ready for some of the most historic and, simply put, fun ports in the Caribbean. Tremendous pricing and value on this year's cruise with rates the same as my cruise last year. Discover the wonders of the Caribbean and unwind after the holidays, January 10th of 2026. Call 800-383-3131 or cruise-tour.com and book now. See you in January.
For NARI award-winning home renovating,
We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
News Talk 1130 WISN. Kowal Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Krieger with your afternoon business report. Major averages moved higher today while investors tariff updates as the overall strength in the market. Meanwhile, shares of Apple edged slightly higher following its annual Worldwide Developers Conference on Monday. While Apple announced a notable software update dubbed Liquid Glass, the company failed to reveal any significant artificial intelligence updates, underwhelming investors. At the close, the Dow was up 105, S&P 500 up 32, and the NASDAQ up 123. From Creative Planning, I'm Tom Krieger.
Turns out the inclusive 4th of July parade in Oconomowoc will allow Republicans to march after all. You see, they wanted to promote their inclusivity by banning all Republicans. They'd be allowed to take part in a little event after the parade with the UW marching band, but not actually be in the parade itself. You see, because of all the inclusivity. Oconomowoc is folded, ladies and gentlemen. This may be a first. I posted this story after first being made aware of it following a Facebook post by my good friend and state representative Jim Piavarchek. I then looked into it, followed up with a couple of the Republican politicians who are not being allowed to march, and confirmed that, yes, they, along with the Republican Party of Waukesha County, were not going to be allowed to march in the Oconomowoc 4th of July parade because, you see, they were just going to be so doggone inclusive. Well, Jessica McBride of WisconsinRightNow.com, who was also working on this story, shared with me just before the top of the hour news that the president of the Oconomowoc Rotary Club, which runs the 4th of July parade, was reversing course. I guess Charles Benson of today's TMJ4 was going to do a story on this. Weirdly enough, they emailed Jessica to say, hold up, don't do your story on this. Right before I had been teasing all afternoon, I was going to just blast the Oconomowoc Rotary Club. And I was even feeling a little cheeky last night after I was done. I had a dinner with an old friend of mine, and I happened to see the original post from the Oconomowoc Rotary Club, and I was feeling a little mischievous, I'll admit. So I commented on their post, "I'm sorry, tomorrow is going to be a rough day for you." Clearly telegraphing my intentions. They have apparently folded. It's not going to be quite as inclusive of a parade this year because they're going to allow Republicans to march. We'll do the complete story in just a second. But first, the iHeartRadio Music Festival Win Before You Can Buy contest, last chance to play, is right now. What's at stake? A trip for two to Las Vegas to see both nights of the 2025 festival, September 19th and the 20th. The prize includes round-trip airfare for two, hotel stay, tickets to the show, plus a $1,000 gift card. Your last chance to win. This contest is overdone, fini, after I say the word music. MUSIC. You've got until 55 past the hour to text the word music to 200-200. If your entry is picked at random, you will win our grand prize. Round-trip airfare, hotel, tickets to the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and a $1,000 gift card. If you enter the contest, you will get a confirmation text and information. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Once again, the word is music, the number 200-200. The Oconomowoc Rotary Club made the decision not to allow either Republican elected representatives, Barb Dietrich, who is the state representative from Oconomowoc and represents the district, State Senator Chris Kapenga, also a Republican, also represents the district, or Congressman Scott Fitzgerald to march. All of them were planning on doing so. In fact, Dietrich actually told me that she got a refund notice. You need to put down $60 apparently in order. It's probably a donation, cover the cost of putting on the thing. It's just sort of a nominal fee. She got a refund, as did the Waukesha County Republican Party. They were told they weren't welcome. Why? Because the Rotary Club, which runs the parade, quote, decided to specifically host a non-political event that will create a universally enjoyable atmosphere where Oconomowoc's legacy and community unity can shine brightly, unimpeded by partisan elements. Dun, dun, dun. Interestingly enough, and this was always the most interesting thing to me, Oconomowoc Mayor Robert Magnus and all 8 members of the Oconomowoc City Council were still going to be allowed to march in the parade. Now, Magnus is well known to be a left-wing Democrat, and wouldn't you know it, he's also a member of the Oconomowoc Rotary Club. So I guess you're only too partisan and contribute to a hostile partisan environment when you're a Republican elected official, when you're the left-wing thug mayor who wants to just ban all of the people he doesn't like in state and national politics from his little parade. He can do so. Ironically, the Rotary touted its spirit of inclusivity as the primary driver in excluding Republicans. Now, they weren't going to be able to take part in the parade, but rather hilariously, they were going to be allowed to show up for one moment, one brief moment that was, quote, a special moment of unity featuring the renowned University of Wisconsin marching band. The band will perform their beloved fifth quarter celebration at the Village Green following the parade, providing a symbolic moment of unity and welcoming participation from all members of the community. This was the Rotary Club in a Facebook post last night trying to justify their decision. Now, maybe I'm old-fashioned, and maybe I don't know what 4th of July parades are supposed to be. But weren't the parades the symbolic moment of unity and featuring participation from all members of the community? Isn't that where we're supposed to put partisan differences aside and Republican or Democrat be reminded that we're all Americans? Are we so offended by the sight of Barb Dietrich throwing out Tootsie Rolls that violates the spirit of inclusivity for the mayor and the rest of the... You know what? I don't like this phrase, but I think it fits. Bunch of Karens in that Rotary Club, right? Gotta be. Got to be. 64-year-old boomer lib Karens. This is why I say, ladies and gentlemen, you can be a boomer. You can even be a lib. You cannot be a boomer lib. Boomer libs are the most cringe things on earth. More cringe than goth teens. More cringe than 40-year-olds who are still living in high school. Okay? Just so you know, if you are a boomer lib, you are more cringe than anything. Just so you know. Bunch of boomer lib Karens, and the final boss Karen, Mayor Robert Magnus, didn't want the Republicans to ruin all of their inclusivity. Well, turns out the Oconomowoc Karen Club, they are also, well, let's just put it this way. They don't have the courage of their convictions. Took them less than a day of Jessica McBride and Dan O'Donnell being on the story, and then Charles Benson deciding to report on this for the Karen Club to fold. Jessica shared an email to me from Bonnie Lewis to Shannon, who is apparently the president of the Oconomowoc Rotary Club, sent 4:26 p.m. Now, this timing is tremendous. Do you know why? Because if you go back on this very radio show at about 4:07 p.m., I was talking about breaking this story wide open about the Oconomowoc Rotary Club banning Republicans from the 4th of July parade in the name of inclusivity, which I do hope that they appreciate the irony of this, by the way. The spirit of inclusivity. Republicans can't be here. The lib mayor, no problem. He's totally inclusive. You see. I was talking about things being Orwellian. I actually think Animal Farm is every bit as good of a novel as 1984, also by George Orwell. You see, some Oconomowoc politicians are inclusive, but others are more inclusive than others. You see what I'm saying? All politicians are inclusive, but some politicians are more inclusive than others. Of course, the famous, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. That's just socialism in a nutshell right there. The president of the Rotary Club wrote Jessica this email at 4:26. Clearly, I think they knew what was coming when I said, okay, 5:07, everybody. We're going to tell you how you can do something about the inclusive 4th of July parade banning Republicans. She writes, Jessica, the Rotary Club of Oconomowoc is preparing a formal retraction of its decision regarding the 4th of July parade. I will share the statement with you as soon as it is approved by our board. I apologize. It won't meet your deadline. Best, Bonnie Lewis to Shannon. The power of social media, folks. I didn't even have to do this story on the air, but it was going so wild. I have been running errands all day ahead of my listener cruise to Norway on Friday. We fly out on Friday, and I've got to get a billion things done. On the same day, by the way, we're having our driveway poured. I've got about 15 different appointments. I run around. I have no idea how many reposts or shares on Facebook, but it clearly caught got the attention of the Oconomowoc community that nobody was going to be allowed to march if you are a Republican. You're just not inclusive enough. So all's well that ends well, I guess. But this does illustrate a more serious point. Yeah, okay, it's inherently a little silly. Okay, well, Chris Kapenga, sorry, brother, you're just not inclusive. We want to be inclusive, so we've got to exclude you. You think differently than we do. Sorry, you're just we want to promote the spirit of inclusivity, so you are out. You can go, you can stand behind the band. Don't worry, nobody will be able to hear you talk. You'll be drowned out by the tuba section after the parade. You can't go and shake hands and throw out dum-dums to the kids on the side of the street. Half the time, incidentally, people always ask if I can take part in their 4th of July parades. I actually turned it into a joke that my hometown technically my hometown is Greenfield, but I always went, when I was a kid, I always went to the Hales Corners parade and did the Hales Corners fireworks and everything and all that. And I always joked that they were not proud of their native son because they never invited me to their parade. Turns out they had no idea I was even interested. The Lions Club there, turns out, is run, wonderful friend of mine, Ian, who said, Dan, would you like to be like, it was like the grand marshal of the parade or something. I'm like, guys, I'm just lying. I'm teasing. It was a joke. They asked, hey, would you like to MC the kiddie parade and the kids games and all that? I said, yeah, sure. That's not going to conflict with, I go to about 5 different barbecues and parties and things. And I've been doing that for, it's got to be 6 or 7 years now, something like that. I have a wonderful time. And half the time I wear a costume. You probably see me post them on Facebook and such. And I will half the time at the parade that I go to with a bunch of friends. It's always a big thing. You get the giant tent and food and alcohol and everything. Half the time, because I'm in costume, they will ask me to just sort of march a little bit in costume. And I'll go, hey, it's George Washington. Hey, George. And I'll just, get a little exercise, a 400-yard march. Sometimes my kids will join me. Now they're just embarrassed. They're like, Dad, do we really have to be seen with you dressed as Alexander Hamilton all day? Yes, you do, son. I don't care that you're 17 years old now. Yes, you do. You will go dressed as Aaron Burr, or you will not come home to this house. No, I'm just kidding. So I love the 4th of July, and I have never heard of anybody. The politicians, they're always there. I don't know. It's always a big thing. Always, it's hilarious because I'm like, hey, Julian Bradley, get over here. Hey, Dan, what's going on? Half the time I'll invite him to, I invited Chuck Whitkers to my birthday party one year, and he showed up. He was awesome. It was a great time. We saw him at the 4th of July. We're like, Chuck, come to my birthday party in a week. He did. He's a great guy. All right. Coming up next, a follow-up to a story that we broke. So I guess all's well that ends well in Oconomowoc. They're going to reverse the decision. A 64-year-old woman and said, we're not okay. Yes, I know. Okay. Eric is telling me a 64-year-old woman from Oconomowoc called and said, we're not all Karens. No, did you not hear me? I said, it's okay to be a boomer. I love boomers. If you are a conservative boomer, like my stereotype of conservative boomers is Nick the construction guru, right? Like ripping cigarettes, riding a Harley, shotgun and a beer. I have no idea if Nick the construction guru smokes. In fact, I'm 99% sure he does not. But he just, he's got the white beard. He's always wearing the Harley clothes. He's got this super tough Sons of Anarchy exterior, but he's like the nicest guy in the world. That's like my stereotype of conservative boomers. Conservative boomers are freaking awesome, right? It's the lib boomers who are the most cringe creatures on earth. I am convinced most conservative boomer women are not Karens. Some of you kind of are. Some of you are. Some of you are. When I say things, as I am wont to do, that sometimes are offensive because I'm making a joke and you think that I shouldn't be making jokes about whatever it is I'm making jokes about, I think that's a little Karenish, little Karenish. For example, if Oconomowoc was banning Democrats from the parade, I would say that's Karenish. That's not what we do. But here's the thing. No conservative, boomer or otherwise, would ever think about that because we don't think like that. We're like, yeah, of course, you're the Democrats. Tammy Baldwin wants to march in our parade. That's awesome. We need proof of life that Tammy Baldwin is still alive every couple of months. Anyway, all right, coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, a follow-up about what I consider a pretty doggone huge story that we broke. It is gaining a lot of traction, including nationally. The Polk and Rusk County District Attorneys, we actually caught them in what they thought was a private email exchange. I'm not going to get into my sources that got their emails to me, but in a private email exchange, they were discussing on Friday openly turning their counties into sanctuary counties by refusing to cooperate with ICE on detainer requests or anything, and actually talking about the state attorney general's office, talking to Josh Call's office about how exactly to do just that. One of them has doubled down on his plans. You won't want to miss this. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth. Coming right back.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Eastbound 94 drivers on the brakes from the Zoo to 35th. Westbound slow from the Marquette to Mitchell Boulevard. On the bypass, southbound backed up out of the Zoo to Lincoln and Beloit through the Hale. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Club Car Wash and ClubCarWash.com.
$10 a month gets you the cleanest car in Sussex. Club Car Wash is open on Executive Drive across from Meyer on Lisbon. And right now, you can get an unlimited membership for $10 a month for 3 months. For more details, visit in-store or online at ClubCarWash.com.
Join the club. Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Okay, well, wait, how about this one? Look, 3 bedrooms.
What's the catch?
Well, we'd have to replace the appliances.
All right.
And the style is straight out of the 80s.
Oof.
And the roof leaks.
How about a ready home from Belinsky Homes? They've got brand new homes in a wide variety of designs. We get all the benefits of new construction while skipping the building process. Look, just go to Belinsky.com to see all the ready homes available right now.
With warmer weather arriving, we all know our energy bills will be spiking right along with the temperatures. Your money will be flying out of your home faster than that expensive cold air you paid for. Hi, it's Jay Weber from my friends at Semperfi Roofing with a tip on how to beat the heat. The 2 main areas that a home loses cool air are from your roof and your windows, and those are the 2 areas that Semperfi specializes in. They offer a free 21-point roof and window inspection to find out if they're causing your AC unit to work harder, which can double or even triple your energy bills. Yes, it's free, and there will be no high-pressure sales tactics afterward. Usually, an inexpensive repair can fix any problems they may find, but if it's time for a new roof, you can get $500 off of your project, plus no interest and no payment financing until 2027. So set up your free, no-obligation 21-point roof and window inspection today. 262-600-2910. That's 600-2910. Or online at SemperfiRoofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
U.S. Air Force Technical Sergeant Jesse Clark's military service came to an end after a chemical exposure caused a large tumor to form in his brain. As a result, he is paralyzed on the left side of his body, legally blind, prone to memory loss, and in a wheelchair. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation built this hero a new smart home to help him live a more independent life. Help heroes like Jesse Clark. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
Marketing in modern business means finding and serving your customers 24/7 wherever they are. WISN broadcasts are a powerful platform, but there's so much more. WISN's online digital tools are completely customizable, so you can reach your ideal customer through the iHeart app or by using software that actually finds your customers at a specific location or event. These tools are precise, efficient, measurable marketing weapons that you need to use. Combine the power and clout of WISN's broadcast and digital platforms right now. Go to newstalk1130.com, keyword digital.
Does anybody really know what time it is? That's not a question. That's the bumper music from, you guessed it, Chicago. And that means it's time to give away a pair of tickets to see Chicago at the BMO Harris Pavilion at Summerfest on July 4th. We will take, since it actually is, I do know what time it is. It's 5:31. We will take caller number 31. Come on, put it up. I love this song.
One day, a man came up.
See, it's like the perfect blend of rock and roll and crooning, right? And every time I hear a Chicago song, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this song. It was never like in my cultural wheelhouse. I don't know.
Does anybody really know what time it is?
5:32 now, but we're still taking caller number 31.
So I can't imagine why. Time enough to cry.
All right, 414-799-1130, the adventnews.com talk and text line. You can also enter by calling our 800 number, 1-800-838-9476. Caller number 31. Because it was 5:31, will win a pair of tickets to see the band Chicago at the BMO Harris Pavilion at Summerfest. These are the assigned seats. You can go and see them, but trust me, at the BMO Harris Pavilion, you want to get there. And as far as I know, these are really good seats. I happened to see one of the emails and actually saw the seat numbers, and these are good seats. These are really good seats we're giving away. We're giving away a pair every single day this week. Yesterday, I reported on an email exchange between the Polk County District Attorney Jeffrey Kemp and the Rusk County District Attorney Jack Carbanus, along with one of the top assistants to Attorney General Josh Cole, the state attorney general. The Rusk County DA, Kemp, said, I have a question to all of you, considering the way these things have been going on nationally and what looks like a violation of due process. I will confess I am not the smartest person in the room, but the way ICE is doing this, masked, no hearings, no warrants, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I've not had this in my county yet. Are we obligated to assist in this? Because frankly, my gut tells me this is wrong. Carbanus responded, you are not alone. The way this is going down is wrong and will eventually lead to violence. ICE will get no cooperation from my office so long as they continue these abusive tactics. Kemp put out a press release today. This is the entirety of the exchange, he said. 2 comments in a professional forum shared with 603 recipients across the state. There was no secret policy change or directive. In fact, my office has no formal policy on ICE at all. Immigration enforcement is a matter of federal law. As a district attorney, I prosecute state cases. Immigration simply falls outside my jurisdiction. Well, then, if that's the case, why was he talking about this in secret, as in away from the public or the media where the public would be able to hear about it? Unfortunately for Kemp, he might not know, being all the way up in northwestern Wisconsin, Dan O'Donnell has eyes and ears everywhere. Just assume if you are going to act like a radical leftist, I will know about it. Someone will leak whatever you did, whatever you said to me. Just please trust that. If there is nothing he can do, why is he asking whether or not he has to go along with this? And why is Carbanus saying, well, they're going to get no cooperation from me? Kemp goes on. Legal professionals often engage in open, honest discussions about complex or emerging issues. That's what this was. Attorneys are analytical by nature. We debate, we ask questions, we try to understand the legal and ethical implications of our work. This was a conversation among colleagues, nothing more. Okay. That's just the arrogance. He assumes everyone else is stupid. This was checking with the state attorney general. Can I legally do everything in my power to not go along with what I believe to be the unethical application and enforcement of law by ICE? Because I think ICE is being mean. Hey, Josh Cole, do I have to go along with this? They're too mean for me. Carbanus is saying, well, I'm not going to cooperate. Kemp goes on. Unfortunately, this discussion has been taken out of context to suggest something radical or inappropriate, particularly in light of my decision to run for re-election as an independent. Let me be clear, the district attorney's office is not a political office. I've said this many times. Prosecutors do not serve political parties. We serve the law and the public regardless of affiliation. My decision to run as an independent reflects my commitment to neutrality and fairness in this role, not ideology. Many of my friends in the Polk County Republican Party know this about me, and they've heard me say it time and again. My duty is to protect all members of our community, uphold the law, and ensure justice is served without bias or political influence. That's what I've done for the past 8 years, and that's what I will continue to do. Sincerely, Jeffrey L. Kemp, District Attorney. You know, he's right. Attorneys are analytical by nature. Unfortunately for him, I was trained as an attorney. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he was attempting to do everything in his power to, in the unlikely event there would be any sort of ICE activity in his county, whether it's a detention retainer, whether it's a request for cooperation with information about a particular case that maybe is being prosecuted in Polk County involving an illegal alien. He wants to know, do I have to cooperate with them because I don't like what they're doing? And I want to know if I will be legally protected in the event that someone like Dan O'Donnell figures out that I am trying to secretly turn Polk County into a sanctuary county. All a sanctuary county is, folks, is a policy that is either codified in municipal ordinance or county ordinance or just enacted by the people in power that refuses to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. That's all it is. What he was talking about is absolutely a policy change. What Carbanus, who, by the way, is shockingly silent right now out there in Rusk County, he's an Evers appointee. He's not a squish fake Republican like Jeffrey is. Carbanus was saying, no, I'm not going to cooperate. That from someone with authority over the prosecution of criminals in the county is a sanctuary county policy, is a step toward turning Rusk County into a sanctuary county. Similarly, the district attorney of Polk County saying, hey, do I have to cooperate with ICE because I really don't want to cooperate with ICE? Can you provide some guidance, State Attorney General's office? He is saying, I would like to enact a sanctuary policy. He's not doing it publicly. He is not putting out the press release saying, hey, what do you voters think who voted 69% for Donald Trump in November? What do you think? Should I refuse to cooperate with ICE because I think ICE is being too mean? Should I use my own political judgment as a barometer for what law enforcement agencies we decide to cooperate with, what laws we choose to actually enforce here in Polk County? It's exactly what he was doing. Oh, and it's unfortunate that it's being tied to my decision to run as an I am just so independent. He's so committed to the rule of law that he is asking whether he has permission from the state to ignore law enforcement whenever law enforcement, because he doesn't like the specific law enforcement agency, has any sort of request for him. At least Carbanus is open about the fact that he's just a radical leftist and like, yeah, got myself appointed to Rusk County. I've been an immigration attorney my entire career, and I am going to have those same left-wing immigration attorney policies to Rusk County, another county that voted something like 65% for Donald Trump. They do this in private on the listserv because they don't want their constituents hearing about this. Do you think Carbanus has any chance of winning re-election if anyone decides to run against him? That's a big problem. In these small DA's races, small county DA's races, it is almost inevitable that the incumbent will run unopposed. Nobody ever challenges incumbent DAs in these small counties. So few people want the job, in fact, that I frequently will get on the governor's email list a call for applications to be Trempealeau County District Attorney or Oconto County District Attorney. Nothing against those counties, but I'm sure they're beautiful. It's God's country up there. I wouldn't want to leave my home in suburban Milwaukee to go all the way up to the North Woods to make $50,000 a year. DAs and ADAs are shockingly underpaid. That is actually one thing that I will, if you want to get the best and the brightest, you do have to get more competitive because private law firms are paying $150,000 salaries right out of law school. If you're not, paying somebody something that they could even repay their law school loans with, you're in a bit of a bind. But that's somewhat beside the point. The point is that you have two district attorneys behind closed doors in what they thought was a private conversation talking about making unilateral policy decisions that undoubtedly their counties would oppose if they knew about them. One of them is doing damage control. The other apparently is perfectly fine with his county knowing what a radical leftist he is. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Protest in Milwaukee, speaking of radical leftists, set to start in about 16 minutes. We'll get an update.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
41:45, 22 minutes in either direction between Good Hope and the zoo with construction delays. Then on the bypass, southbound, slow out of the zoo to Lincoln Avenue and Beloit through the Hale to 76th. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rocket. Rocket.com is the new home for all things home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home, finding your next one, or unlocking home equity to fund one of your dreams, there's only one destination that has everything you need to get started, all under one roof. Get started today at Rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
Hey, it's Dan, and if you're like me, you think, hey, I can handle the little stuff around the house. If something needs maintenance, I can take care of it, right? Well, for the bigger things, you probably want to call the pros, and there are no better pros than my friends at Weather Pro Exteriors. They offer workmanship and product warranties on all of their products, giving you peace of mind for your next remodeling project. They'll take care of your home as well as you'll take care of your home with residential roofing. They do commercial roofing as well, siding installation projects, replacement as well, windows, exterior doors, gutter replacement, and installation. They offer the very best products to ensure the job is done right the first time. Owens Corning Roofing, James Hardy Siding, and of course, Weather Pro Windows, among many others. For more details about them and to get your project started today, you really need to head to weatherproexteriors.com.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Every time a friend stops over or you get a package delivered, are you reminded how much you can't stand your front door? Hi, Colleen with Tri-County Contracting. One of the most impactful home improvements you can do, both for the wow factor and the return on investment, is a new front entry door. From interior and exterior colors to specialty glass to side lights, we can help you create your perfect door. Does the patio door open hard every time you let the dog out or when you are going out to the patio to grill? We can help. At Tri-County Contracting, our window and door team is ready to install one window or the windows on your whole house. With free estimates and everything priced out separately, give us a call and see what fits your budget. Whether it's new windows, a new front entry door, a new patio door, new siding, or all of the above, we can get your project going quickly. Visit TriCountyContractingWI.com to request a free estimate. For 46 years, Tri-County Contracting has been helping homeowners just like you make their homes look incredible. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, pump and pumping.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood. Or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
Your current car? Soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score and score monitoring on most new consumer checking accounts. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit monitor from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
June is champion season, and Fox Sports Radio is where you come to talk about it. NBA Finals, OKC and Indiana are going off.
Tyrese Halliburton is here to stay.
Stanley Cup Panthers and Oilers are bringing the heat.
Can the Panthers make it back-to-back?
MLB is getting straight spicy.
Ohtani, he's better than Babe Ruth.
To the ice, to the diamond. Get the takes, guests, and stay locked in. Search Fox Sports Radio and make it your next preset on the free iHeartRadio app. When you need to know what it all means, that's when you need us. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Just a couple of minutes to go here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. A crowd is apparently starting to gather at Cathedral Square Park. I haven't got any update on numbers or anything like that. As I am hearing it, it's not overwhelmingly large. We will continue to just sort of monitor things downtown. This is the Ice Out rally that was advertised on social media by, of all places, 101.7 The Truth, a good karma station. That's Craig Karmazin, who owns a bunch of ESPN radio stations on the East Coast, turned 94.5 WKTI into an ESPN affiliate. And they also own WTMJ, my first radio home. I was actually on 94.5 WKTI, spinning the hits of the 80s, 90s, and today, along with producer Eric. I was just 19 years old when they put my skinny little behind on the air all those years ago. So I've got a soft spot in my heart. I worked for them when they were owned by Journal Communications, which owned the Journal Sentinel before that was sold to Gannett, and just long time ago. No word. Craig Karmazin, do you know who his father is? Mel Karmazin, who was a head honcho at Clear Channel, which later became iHeartMedia. And by all accounts, Craig is very, very well respected. He's also a part owner of the Bucks, very well respected in the hallowed halls of ESPN. They actually put him in charge of their O&Os, owned and operated stations in like New York. So they really think very highly of him. One wonders what he thinks about his radio station, The Truth, advertising for a retaliatory protest / possible riot to the violent protests and rioting in Los Angeles. We shall see. We've got to squeeze in one more commercial break, right? What do you think? Should I take the break now and just do a couple of short segments? All right. My producer is telling me we got to take a break. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a second here on the Dan O'Donnell Show after this.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Jam north on 43 out of the Marquette to Keefe Avenue. Southbound slow from Keefe through the Marquette, most of the way to the KK River. 94 heavy eastbound from the Zoo to 68th. Westbound slow from the Marquette to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Argo Glass and Windows.
No need to replace windows when you can repair repair them. Argo Glass and Windows, always offering free estimates using high-quality materials with long-term warranties. So there's no need to replace windows when you can repair them. Visit ArgoWindowRepair.com.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental makes straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking in my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental straight smiles, and full sedation dentistry for anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Big news for drivers. Presets have landed on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with iHeartRadio. Access your favorite stations, podcasts, and playlists instantly right from your dashboard. Try the free iHeartRadio app on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and take those presets for a spin.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go.
Hey, it's Jerry Butt. You know that feeling you get when you realize you're dealing with a company that cares about you, not just as a customer, but as a person? That's the overwhelming feeling I got when I bought my vehicle at Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. The Holiday staff was attentive, patient, totally engaged, and they listened. That inspires confidence, and confidence inspires trust.
Connect with Holiday's summer road trip sale. Score enticing offers and get more for your trade on a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC.
Oh, we are all love for adventure.
Come be our guest, take a test drive, and get ready to travel the road ahead. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday.
Living free, and I was meant to be free. Meant to be free.
Holiday Automotive, Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com.
It's worth the trip.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know two attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
There used to be a day when the national news media prided itself on getting the story right. Those days are gone. Now, it's slanted stories, unnamed sources, and fake news. The goal no longer is to inform you. The goal is to indoctrinate you. Here at News Talk 1130 WISN, our show hosts will give you straightforward information and honest analysis. That is our commitment, and that is our daily mission. News Talk 1130 WISN. Real life, real news, real good.
The most accurate, complete news about Milwaukee. Every hour, every day.
This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Well, if you're in the vicinity of Cathedral Square Park in downtown Milwaukee and you're smelling patchouli oil and body odor, your nose isn't playing tricks on you. There's a big left-wing protest that is scheduled to begin in about a minute and a half. They are responding to the LA riots. It is an emergency protest that I first saw advertised by the Highbury Pub in, where is the Highbury? Is that... Yeah, okay, that was Bayview. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, Third Ward? No, it's in Bayview. It's a big soccer bar. And apparently they're going to be showing the United States-Switzerland match tonight, safely away from the possible copycat riot in downtown Milwaukee. But they desperately want you to show up. So too did 101.7 The Truth, the urban talk radio station that is advertising for potential civil unrest. Now, if it's a protest, I'm just going to assume they don't have a permit, but that has never seemed to matter to left-wing agitators. It is First Amendment protected. The second they start getting unruly, and I am seeing some of the footage, it doesn't look like a real big crowd, but we will keep you posted in case things pop off. Thanks for listening to today's Dan O'Donnell Show.